So I found this all-in-one computer for $100 on Facebook Marketplace. And the seller says that it just needs to have Windows reinstalled. And if he's telling the truth, then that should be a pretty easy fix. Now, my daughter also happens to need a new computer, and so this might be the ideal candidate. I checked the model number, and it looks as though it's selling on eBay for somewhere between $350 and almost $600. So that's definitely more than $100. I think I'm going to go buy this. We can test it out. We'll upgrade it with some cheap upgrades, test it out again to see how much of an improvement that made, and then we'll deliver it to my daughter.
And here it is. It has a glass screen, which is a touch screen, but it has a plastic case. It's always interesting when they mix cheap and premium. It is nice though, but why is everything that I want in life fragile, like this glass screen and my sense of self-worth? Anyway, it doesn't have Windows installed, so I think that's the first thing we need to do. Will it boot? And I think it just restarted. I'm trying to get to the boot menu, and I'm not sure how to do that. Press escape key for startup menu. Okay. Ooh, okay. Okay. The BIOS setup. USB security. USB boot. Enabled. Aha! Save changes and exit? Yes, I've got a good feeling about this. Escape key for the startup menu. Okay, so we're going to want to go to F9 for the boot device options. Legacy boot sources. Oh, it's not even displaying. I don't know why this isn't working. I'm going to try moving that to another USB port. It might be that this isn't an actual USB stick. It's like a micro SD adapter, but I don't know if that's really going to make any difference or not. But let's try plugging them in here and see if that helps. So boot device options. There it is. I don't know if this device is actually capable of running Windows 11, but I figured I'd start with that. Oh, that's a good sign. Hey, look at that. Okay, so this is Windows 11. Let's try this. Now this has the 1 terabyte or the 2 terabyte. I think it was a 1 terabyte drive in there. I'm probably going to change that out to an SSD, but I think it'll be interesting to try Windows 11 with the spinning disk and then upgrade it and see how much snappier it is. Just got to go through all of the menus, custom install. Wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff. I'm just going to delete all of these partitions. And there we go, press next. Going to leave this to do its job, and we'll come back and check on it later. All right, we're back, and this one's ready. I'm just going to fast forward through all of this. All right, we got past the updates, and now I've got to log in. And, you know, with Windows 11, you can't just create an offline account. So I guess I'll sign in with my Microsoft account. I'm going to do this, and I'll come back to you guys once we're at the desktop. We're almost there. Just a few more minutes. I'd like to say that the setup process is very clunky, and I think that might have something to do with the hard drive. I'll be curious to see how much smoother it is when we add an SSD. So after first logging in, the start menu just popped up. It's interesting to see that they've put ChipChamp Video Editor here. I've never even heard of that. It is noticeably slow. So definitely a 1 terabyte drive. You guys probably can't tell, but it's very laggy. When I click, it takes a while for things to come up. Check for updates. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the hard drive is just going wild in there. Okay, so it turns out there's a whole bunch of updates and also drivers, including new firmware. So let's get these updates done, then we'll do some testing, and then we can talk about upgrading this. Okay, so it's actually the next day at this point, and we've gone through all of the updates. But for some reason, the Wi-Fi is still not seeing the 5 gigahertz SSIDs. I'm curious as to whether or not it updated the drivers. And so under advanced options, there are optional updates. And so this is different in Windows 11. Driver updates. Oh, look at that. Intel system. Other hardware, Intel Trusted Execution Engine interface, the display, and firmware for the device. And I don't know if you can see that, but this is not super smooth. So I'm going to run these driver updates and see if that improves this any. Now, of course, this is all kind of pointless. My whole goal here was to see if the thing even worked, and it does. So while it's doing this, let's also go and choose what hardware we need to buy to upgrade it.
So here's the plan. We're going to upgrade the 1 terabyte mechanical hard drive to a 128 gigabyte Lexar SSD. Now, I don't know if Lexar is a good brand or not, but it does have good reviews. And I've actually bought this. That was loud. I've actually bought this one before and had a good experience with it. And for $12.49, I think that's a pretty cheap upgrade. And then I'm also going to buy an additional 4 gigabyte stick. I'm pretty sure this matches what's in there. And I checked and it says that 1 slot is in use. So this should get us up to 8 gigabytes and should allow us to take advantage of the dual channel setup. And both of these things are going to arrive tomorrow. So I'm also going to buy one of these 2.5 to 3.5 inch adapters because it's always frustrating when I can't mount the 2.5 inch drive in there. And this thing looks pretty cool because you can screw the 2.5 inch drive in and secure it. And then it basically turns it into a 3.5 inch drive. Let's get back to the computer. We'll keep testing it. And then tomorrow we'll put the new hardware in.
And we're back and the updates are done. Unfortunately, those driver updates did not resolve the Wi-Fi issue where it can't see the 5 gigahertz networks. But, you know, I'm just going to give up on that right now. I have that same issue with some other Windows 11 devices, and I'm just getting a feeling that this might be something that Microsoft will resolve in the future. So let's do some actual tests. The graphics driver update did make this a little smoother. Anyway, I downloaded HD Tune, so let's take a look at how this hard drive runs, which I'm sure it runs like a dog. Oh, let's give it a shot. Huh. Okay, well, that's faster than I was thinking it was gonna be. Am I like living in the 1990s or something? Oh, it's dropping. I can't watch. We'll come back to it in a minute. And as expected, after a little while, the drive performance went downhill. And I think that's pretty typical for physical drives like this. Outside of that though, everything looks pretty good. And we're really just replacing this with an SSD because of the obvious performance improvement that it will give us. And of course, it wouldn't be a true test without testing my game to see how many frames per second it can get. On the BMAX B1 and BMAX B3 that we tested this on recently, we got around 30 frames per second and then 50 frames per second. I'll be curious to see how this one does. I'll turn the audio down a little bit. Well, we're getting almost 60 frames per second. Let's see if it plays well or not. Oh, dang. Yep, that is a solid, oh boy, a solid 60. As you can see, wow, it just went down, but yeah, it's pretty much handling 60 at a time. It's not going to go above 60. This might actually be worth testing some other games on. Now, every now and then it starts to kind of lag a little bit. That's probably something to do with the physical hard drive. So I think we'll try this again when we get the SSD installed and the dual channel RAM. So I realized that we should probably try out Minecraft too. This is with anti-aliasing turned all the way down, and it plays pretty smooth. This is something that my daughter would be very likely to play. And yeah, this is good. Guess what day it is? Yep, it's hardware upgrade day. So I watched a video on this, and I think we just have to remove these 2 screws pull the stand off, and then the back cover of this is just a piece of plastic that kind of unclips. So I'm going to get this off and we'll see if that's going to work out. Oh, well, yep. After you get the stand off, there's also one more screw down here that you have to remove. And then this thing is a real pain in the butt. You have to kind of pry it open from the bottom. If you look carefully, there's this black piece here, and then there's the white piece on the back. You have to try to get this under here, and then kind of push in and push back. It's not a very comfortable thing to do. And here's the fun part. You want to take this, see how we're hooking? We're going to hook around like this. It's going to sound like it's breaking. This is really hard to do while holding a phone. And eventually it opens up. So let's start with the new 4 gig stick that we want to stick in here. Goes right here. And then this is the hard drive, which looks like it's held in by this screw right here. Let's see if it comes out. Oh, I think you have to push it. I see. So you push it this way. Jeez. Oh, there we go. Unfortunately, the new cradle for this hasn't arrived yet, so we're just gonna connect it up here. And, you know, it's not ideal, but I'm just gonna kind of leave it dangling there for the time being, so we can get it put back together and reinstalled. Really, I should clean this out, but since I'm gonna have to go back in anyway, let's just get it back together and test out the new hardware. Before I clip this thing back together, I'm just gonna turn it on and make sure that it at least posts, just in case there's something wrong with that memory. Well, it's definitely on, but it's not doing much. Well, unfortunately, it looks like that stick is not compatible, so we're still only gonna have 4 gigabytes of RAM, but that's okay. At least we have the SSD in there. So I haven't clipped it back all the way, and I haven't mounted the stand, but it appears to sit upright. So I'm just gonna work on it like this, and maybe I'll order another stick of this so that we can hopefully get this working. But I'm gonna install Windows 11 with the SSD. All right, so I put the Windows 11 USB stick in there, and looks like the setup is starting. I'm gonna run through this. You guys have seen this before. Once we get into the operating system, we'll redo the benchmarks. All right, so I've got Windows reinstalled. It's all up to date. I've installed Minecraft and a bunch of other stuff, but also the new sticker memory came in. So we're gonna take another look at that real quick, and then we'll do the tests. All right, so we got the additional stick. Hopefully having 2 identical sticks will help. It's funny because they're different colors, so I don't know if that's good or not. They do have the same numbers on them, but then, well, I guess we'll see. So here's the original cage. I'll put that out of the way for a second. Let's see if we can mount this into the adapter. It comes with a bunch of screws for mounting the drive. So presumably we just take this and slide it in. So I just pushed that in. And then on the back, we can mount the screws. Then the final product looks pretty nice. The question is, does it fit? Probably a silly question because it fits absolutely perfectly. Last thing to do is secure the gauge. So before I close this up, I think this is worth noting that this stick and the stick in my hand were bought from Amazon, and they're supposed to be the same, but you can see that this has twice as many chips on there. And when I put this into this computer, it doesn't work. I think that these are probably used and are just being relabeled, and I think they sent me the wrong stick, because when I use the second one of these that I got with the original, it actually boots.
All right, so we've got Windows completely reinstalled, updated. The hardware has been upgraded. So we have a 128 gigabyte SSD, and we also have the 8 gigabytes of dual channel RAM. So let's redo the tests that we did earlier. We'll start with running HD Tune on the Lexar 128 gigabyte SSD. And straight out the gate, we're getting over 200 megabytes per second, but that's still kind of low for an SSD, faster than the mechanical drive. But I wonder if, like the BMAX computers, if maybe this is limited by the onboard controller. Anyway, we'll let this run through and let's see where it ends up. And it is finished. You can see that this has a much more consistent transfer rate, and that also the access time is way lower than what the mechanical drive was showing. So it's definitely an improvement, and a pretty cheap one at that. Next, we'll run my game, and of course, we should be getting 60 frames per second. Ever since putting the SSD in here, it just feels much smoother. It used to be when I was using this that it would kind of freeze up periodically, not for long, just, you know, for split seconds, but now it's running much smoother. That could also be partly to do with the RAM. Running Windows with 4 gigabytes of RAM pretty much means you're going to be hitting virtual memory. So yeah. And of course, the game that really matters to my daughter, Minecraft. And so we're actually connected to our local server, the Kids Keeper game running. And so, yeah, it's nighttime and you can see the creeper over there. I'm just going to go for it. You think he's going to spot me? Oh, he has spotted me. I gotta go. This is hard. He's going to explode. Time to go. But yeah, this runs really good. You guys see that chicken over there? What's he doing? Anyway, I think she's really going to like this computer. So I'm going to log off and I'm going to log her on, and then I'm going to go and install it in her room. All right, so here's our old computer. Going to keep the same keyboard and mouse though. What do you think?
I just ran into it.
There's touchscreen still.
I know.
Is your mouse working? Yep.
Yeah.
You want to try loading up Google Chrome?
Yep.
Hey!
It
There you go. What do you think?
I think it looks good.
You like it more than your other one?
Mm-hmm.
It looks a lot nicer, doesn't it?
Yeah, how do you change your background?
Oh, well, if you right click, go to personalize. You want to try choosing another one?
So do you just put some background?
Yeah, do you see them right there? You want to try one? Ooh, let's see.
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool, huh? Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, press the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, consider hitting subscribe. And there'll be other videos you might like here and the subscribe thingy right here. And I'll see you in the next one.